Alright, let's just test that I'm actually live and can be heard. Volume up. Just need to make sure it's actually working before I start talking properly. Volume up. That sounded like me just now. Just need to make sure it's actually working before I start talking properly. Cool. Alright, it's working. Alright, so I wanted to do this live, and that's mostly to show that I'm not trying to, like, I don't know, edit or video edit anything out of it. As authentic as possible, basically. But as you can see here on the bottom left of the screen, we're talking about X suspension. For some reason, they decided that I needed to be permanently suspended. So the email here, it says, apparently I'm violating the rules prohibiting impersonation. However, when you click that blue link there, it leads you to authenticity, which is this one here, actually, so I should move that here. And I'm like, okay, apparently I'm inauthentic. What sort of stuff is that? So automation, fake personas, impersonation. Okay, so, well, I don't do any of that. I don't automate anything. Everything I post is myself. I'm not fake. It's manufactured identities to engage in disruptive, deceptive behavior, including stock, stolen, AI-generated profile photos, copies. All right, my profile photo there is some trees that I took, I think it was in 2012 in Holland. I added the colors myself. That's my own photo. I've got the original JPEG somewhere on my NAS, but that's turned off at the moment. It's not AI generated. It's not stock. It's my own picture. AI generated, no, copied or stolen profile bios. My bio is very normal. I just go here. Let's just have a look. How do I go to my own bio? Home? No. Click on here. There you go. Yes, audio-visual software, both consumer and creation and games. I also like deep diving on topics to try to understand what and why from multiple angles. That's it. That's disappeared. That's sad. What if I refresh? Sometimes it loads. It's just a picture of a flower, basically, but whatever. Okay, so it's misleading profile information, purpose of deceiving others. At the moment I'm deep diving the Switch 2. That's what's out or was coming out soon, and I am trying to figure out what is going on with some of the announcement. Multiple accounts, nope. We prohibit coordination. Artificially influenced conversations, disrupt X, not allowed. Boost, engage, misuse, mention, reply. Amplify. So the one thing that I thought might be the case is that, see, I usually use X while I'm on the train, and when I'm on the train, of course, I'm using my phone, which has autocorrect, which I use like the whole sliding typing thing, so sometimes I want to say one word and I get a complete different one. And then once I post it, I go, I didn't read that well enough. I just noticed one word, which is very crucial, is saying something very strange. So I quickly delete it before it has any views, and then I post it again, just with the correct words. I did that like 2 or 3 times the day before I got banned. And so I thought maybe it's that ban evasion. You're not allowed to create any new accounts, basically, if you're banned. Okay. Account compromise, that's not me. Unauthentic behaviors, content spam, that's basically what I just talked about, but it's not really bulk. Duplicative is maybe the closest that I tricked. Irrelevant, none of that. Thing is, it's only like 2 or 3 times, and I'm sure that people do this all the time, right? And it's just one small post, and it was deleted like within seconds because, oops, I made a mistake. And that's the thing as well, I also deleted and then reposted. It's not like I'm just spamming the same message without, generating walls of text to annoy people or anything. Engagement spam, trading, bullying, buying, selling, none of that. Engage in indiscriminate. duplicating another account's followers. No, not doing anything like that. Obtaining prior content exit or manually submitting reports in good faith that you believe may be. This says aloud, right? Manually submitting reports in good faith that you may believe may violate. Nope, okay, not violating anything. Encouraging others to engage in good faith for customer support queries. Scams. Inauthentic content, synthetic manipulated media. You may not share inauthentic media, including manipulated out-of-context media that may result in widespread confusion on public issues. Okay, well, I shared... what's the best way to do this? I need to make sure that I did this. I went to switch to notch like this, right? And then I clicked on images, and then I saw a screenshot here, which I saw it says this is how it tells open image in new tab. This is how it tells the difference between Nintendo Switch 2 game cards and Nintendo Switch game cards. So I talked about that in a previous video, but we're looking at a notch basically. People are saying that this cart has a notch, which may mean that you can't put it in a Switch 1, but we're talking about the Switch 2 Enhanced Editions, which include the original game plus the upgrade pack. So it's like, does it work or not? That was the conversation, basically. That's what I thought maybe this might be talking about, because, I'm just talking about trying to clarify. But the thing is, this is like cause serious harm, public safety, sort of stuff, right? I'm just talking about a Switch. Malicious URLs, I posted Nintendo. How we enforce, basically, I ended up here, suspension. All right. Okay, so these are the rules of authenticity, which apparently I've broken and deserved a permanent suspension for. It says that here, unfortunately or fortunately, I usually use on my PC in Japanese to expose myself more to the reading aspect, because I live in Japan, so it's probably a good idea that I actually expose myself more and practice or study, right? So if I try to change that, let me just click on a random, what's something that doesn't look dumb? This is almost like showing off what my browsing history is kind of like. Oh, this is cool, Bethesda. Dude made a real life shield. Alright, so I'll go here, I'll go to the privacy settings or whatever. Here's where you can find language, and if I try to change it from Japanese to English, British English will be fine. Well, I get a pop-up saying that I can't do this because your account is blocked, so I can't change any settings. What was this one? We'll keep that. We don't need this one anymore. So if I go to translate and paste, there you go. So just to give you the Google version of my translation. That is what it says in English. This is a screenshot of my phone as I have the Twitters or the X on my phone in English. Yeah. So next thing I wanted to talk about, I guess, here's another screenshot of one day before I got banned, just to show the sort of stuff I was posting. So you can see some of the screenshots that I copy pasted, or screenshots that I did and highlighted things, and screenshot from my own recording from Animal Crossing, looking at the charge grip, playing Xenoblade, being advertised about Dexterra, and now the images started disappearing. That was, I guess, traffic limit for a banned account. You can't read or see a lot before you get blocked. So, don't need that one anymore. One thing I wanted to have a look at was, because the rules are kind of saying maybe spam or something like that, I thought, here's an interesting fact. If you want to get a blue check mark, it says that you have to have a display name and profile photo. Account must be active for 30 days. Confirm phone number and non-deceptive. So can't change your photo, display name, or username handle. Account must have no signs of being misleading or deceptive. Account must have no signs of engaging in platform manipulation and spam. Ooh, my throat just sounded like a frog. But okay, so that's an interesting point, because if you didn't notice when I was trying to change the language, I have a blue check mark now. Yes, expensive exercise, but I decided let's see what happens if I apply for a blue check mark for a month. Will they reject it? No. So one team thinks that I'm not manipulating or spam or deceptive or misleading, and another bot, I guess, misflagged me and permanently suspended me. Two teams, if that was a human. It does say somewhere that they are separate and they don't look at each other, so it's a thing. Loss of check mark, I guess if you unsubscribe, change something. Anyway, basically, here, don't need that anymore. Looking at some other more browsing stuff, what sort of stuff comes up when I refresh the page? We get apparently a rhino using a horn to pick its teeth, smelling butts, and it is cool. Video game stuff, Doom, video game more Doom, video game movies, stuff about slavery. Fantastic. I'm actually not really interested in the politics stuff. It just seems to like to appear on feeds. I hope I should make a serious point of not clicking them. Sometimes you accidentally tap them on a phone. But yeah, so I guess that kind of gives away some of my browsing history or topics that I may click on. If I scroll too much, it might get weirder and weirder. So let's just leave it at that. And that's my homepage, so I don't need that anymore. That was zoomed in because when I zoom out, it shows now that I've got the blue check mark on this as well. I don't really remember why I took the screenshot other than just to show the English spiel of my account being suspended. All right. So what do we have? Don't need those. We've read the authenticity thing already, so let's just do a live demonstration of how inauthentic and perma-banned worthy I am. So we read the profile already. Here's some of my posts. Unfortunately, the images now just say this, and if I try to click on it, I just get nothing. If, by the way, you try to look up my own account, you'll just get this account suspended. So this is not signed into X. Trying to look up myself, you just get that. Yeah, fantastic, isn't it? I'm so happy about this. Overjoyed. 0 followers, 0 following. Not going to click on the DMs because I can still read some of those. Oh yeah, older stuff that I was interested in. I've got Doll, Smart Doll from Danny Drew, basically. Anyway, let's read. Talking about Nintendo Switch, basically advising stuff like if you go the Nintendo subscription online plus expansion route, you know, to play the 2 Zelda titles, get that free upgrade pack, so to speak. I don't like to use the word free, actually. I prefer to say included. A lot of people say free, though, so it kind of just, I guess, maybe you can just classify that as a Freudian slip. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly. Anyway, basically I'm just saying that if you have no internet and it wants to check that you're eligible to play and it can't because no internet, you're going to be stuck with the Switch 1 version edition again, so you might still want to... I see that I'm trying to get advertised for bot viewing. Let me just... I don't know if there's an easy way for me to ban that off here, actually. Doesn't matter, I'm not displaying the chat on screen anyway. Yeah, basically, I'm just going on a blurb here, basically saying, I think I'm going to buy the $10 thing anyway, because personally, I play on the train, and I don't have internet access. my phone, I have to actually pay extra if I want to do tethering for some strange reason with my carrier. I don't want to pay extra for tethering. I just use Wi-Fi when I have access, which is not the train, and therefore I highly possibly, if I get the Switch 2, or when I get the Switch 2, more like it, won't be able to play the upgraded versions of Zelda, which I still haven't played. So that's one thing that I'm going to do on the Switch 2 is complete the Zelda games that I haven't done yet, which is Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom. Even though I have a lot of hours of Tears of the Kingdom, I'm sort of halfway, or not even halfway through. Anyway, ranting. That was a mistake I nearly made, so I decided to post it publicly. Make sure you get an Extreme Pro card, not the original ones, because the original ones can go up to sort of like 240 megabytes per second, where Express is much faster. You can actually use the originals, by the way, but only for screenshots, apparently. I'm not sure if they hard lock trying to put games on it, but if you do, you probably get stuttering and whatever. Anyway, another video for that coming up. Me saying that I really wish that Switch 2 version of Animal Crossing would happen for 60 FPS. I don't know why I'm reading and saying it in such a weird order, but anyway, it'll be nice to have load time decreases on that one, because that takes a long time. Looks to me like Nintendo America shows the wrong Joy-Con 2 grip on what's included in the box. Let's look at those links, actually. The picture's gone. So here, that's the Joy-Con 2 grip, and this is the technical specs of the thing. So this is basically what comes with this in the box. Switch, dock, controllers, straps, and grip. But this picture, it has transparent handles. That actually is the Joy-Con charge grip, which has extra buttons here and here. If you have a look at the Japanese page, they have a tabbed version instead, and that is the actual grip. It's not transparent, and when you look at the back, it has no extra buttons, and of course, no charge port at the top, but you can't see that in this picture anyway. But it's just a small detail. I'm like, transparency, I'm pretty sure that's for the extra upgraded version. This is what's included, actually. Mistake by Nintendo, or does the US version get transparent handles anyway? I don't know, whatever. Mr. Scary Bright Eyes in the Wii U version, lol, that was talking about Xenoblade, you can't see it anymore, sadness. Switch 2 camera is essentially just a USB-C webcam, so if you already have one, or a USB-C adapter, you could just use what you already have at home. Most likely, there's a test screen for that. One exciting aspect of the Switch 2 is HDR, and that's because this is one of the first times that we have a dedicated hardware with dedicated software sort of combined sort of thing going on. Unlike, Apple's kind of the same, but every generation of Apple is different, and then the software is, all over the show, whatever. But here we're going to have the software, like, what do you call it again? Like, color graded precisely for the HDR screen that's handheld. So, like for the PS5, for example, I think it goes up to 4,000 nits, but HDR could actually go up to 10,000 nits brightness. But most OLED TVs, for example, like the latest and greatest, maybe getting close to 2,000 now, 1,600-ish is what it was last year, I believe. That's in a small window. So basically, TVs will have to apply some sort of curve or drop the brightness of other areas to be, which makes things overly dark or something like that. Blah blah blah. Technical HDR stuff. Basically, this is the first time where the game will be exactly for the actual screen. So maybe the first time that people witness HDR properly calibrated or configured. So that's quite exciting. Some people who try to use HDR on their screens just say it's overly washed, and it's a possible mismatch of hardware, software thing going on there. Switch to fundamentally different backwards compatibility, therefore uses some sort of translation layer, and I'm interested whether or not that the input lag will be improved or worse. One thing that I found out about the Switch is that if you're playing handheld, actually, the 4K 60 FPS, 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 60 if timing is crucial, you can gain 15 milliseconds of... Well, you can drop 15 milliseconds of input lag if you disconnect the Joy-Cons from the home unit. I guess if it's charging at the same time, it actually adds lag. You would have thought that if it's connected, it would be less, but it's not actually. So if you need that extra 15 milliseconds, like if you're fishing in Animal Crossing or something like that, you might improve your rates of catching fish if you disconnect the Joy-Cons from the Switch. I did a whole bunch of testing for that in the past, and I was like, huh. Anyway, that's why I was talking about this. I'm interested if the Switch 2 is going to be better or worse for like reaction time crucial gaming. And important bookmark, basically the compatibility thing. So check your games just in case, so you know if you have to keep the original Switch or not. Bit hard to tell from compressed video, but I think from Final Fantasy Remake, Cyberpunk, and stuff like that, we're in the PS4 Pro territory with added newer features like DLSS. That's my take. Could be wrong. It looks like Zelda is 1440p 60. Okay. Nintendo Store, it took me 10 hours to just apply for the lottery from the Nintendo Store. Donkey Kong Bonanza's only 10 gig. That's small. And yet it's still on a physical game cart, not a game key cart, like a lot of the third publisher parties are rooting for, which apparently game cards are only 64 gigs. So if it's small, then the game key cart is more likely. Also, they're probably cheaper. Mario Kart World size, okay, cool. I kind of want to do a whole video on that anyway. Switch to Zelda upgrades included expansion online, blah, 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 blah. Complaining about YouTube because I also got suspended on YouTube. I like to break algorithms, apparently. That was years ago, though, and I complained about it on Reddit and actually got the account back within a day. So somebody read it, checked, and said, oh, we made a mistake. So I'm hoping X will do the same. I still like to use X because a lot of Japanese companies and stuff do use it. For example, if I just go here and I want to have a look at Switch to this dude, company dudettes group, I'm not sure. But they post a lot of cool things like this. Scroll a little bit more because I want the more in-depth one. Like file size compilations. But if you live in Japan and new hardware is coming, it's mostly lottery-based, and a lot of companies have their own rules, and here we are. So I was like, oh, this is cool. I can track these guys are doing it for me. I don't have to click on every single company and find out what their rules are, right? So open a new tab so I can zoom in better. It tells you the store, the times of the lottery applications, and when they're going to give you the results, and what the rules are. And in this case, from prior to February 28th, you must have at least 50 hours gameplay and have had an Nintendo Switch Online subscription for at least a year, and that you are the person that pay for it as well. Nice calendar, all sorts of stuff. So I do a lot of scrolling to see things like that. And same case when the results came out. So I, searching for results to see how many people saying that they got or didn't, what kind of percentages maybe. Are there any polls? What did you apply for? Did you win it? So on and so forth. And apparently, at least to some of these polls, just tracking to find out what's the best way to go about attempting to get hold of some hardware. But I know I'm ranting a bit for the Switch 2. The only way that I can get it, if I want multiple languages, is through Nintendo. So, talking about Doom, Dark Ages, Tides of Annihilation, Mario Kart, Xbox Director. Those are the ones that I was interested in. So, just talking about video games. LOL advertising games in Japan, not for Japan. But unfortunately, don't remember what that picture was for. Soft map lottery page seems the best to see what the RRP is for graphics cards. The RTX 50 series. So just talking again about hardware. Wow, this pre-order came back again. That was a surprise. I didn't expect to see that. I made a video review of that if you want to watch that. With the direct being in April, blah 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 blah. Stellar Blade stuff. Talked about the censorship and PS5 Pro version of Diablo 4. A lot of people didn't notice any difference, but I did a side by side and actually found some, so I wanted to share what I found. This is why we need to start saying what version we are reviewing. Yep. Because people are saying these are some problems about this game. They don't tell you what the version is, so that they might actually fix it, and then people go, "Oh, patch was done." Yeah. I think there's two things that people should do when they review things. One, say how many hours they played it for, and two, tell you what version they have been playing. So at least once you watch or read that review, you can compare versions and go, talking a lot about PS5 Pro when it came out, so I'm doing the same thing with the Switch. It's just, just me. Text post tier 2X give better frame rate comparison on my phone. I was testing back in November. I paid again for premium. I think I paid for the extra premium one actually then. Should have tried the article writing feature. Grok was funnier there, actually. The Grok image generation. I got some classic pictures out of that. I tried to do it before I got banned again, like recreate some of these over-expressive expressions, but maybe they dialed it back a little bit. Yeah, okay. So I'm now into October, and does anything look inauthentic to you? Am I impersonating anybody? Am I breaking any of those rules? Please point out. Wonder how many people get the anniversary edition. I tried. I didn't. I failed. I'm not too disappointed about that. It means that I get to put that money towards the Switch 2 anyway. Talking about Astrobot. So I need 2 hours to see how the full weekend goes. But if the studio has 150 employees, what percentage of the player base? Okay, I guess I'm talking about... that was probably a Concord post. Wild. It seems that 1.2 million people sleep at the same time. So that's talking about Black Myth Wukong. You can see that. I was just laughing and watching the trends. There's just so many people going up and down. And yeah, of course, that's basically saying definitely Chinese gamers are proud of the game. They're all playing and they actually sleep. It's good. Good thing that you sleep. All right. So here's some replies. Talking about the Switch 2 Enhanced Editions. These two $10. These are $20. They have... Well, actually, I don't know about Metroid, but Kirby and Jamboree are $20. They include plus something. So they got like a DLC or exclusive to Switch 2 extra games or something like that. So it's like real additional content. Here's like a phone app. You get to listen to somebody talk more. So maybe they could have used that to justify the $20 price, but I guess not additional game assets or something. Anyway. Knew about this already. So this is where I'm like, I don't know if it's playable or not on a Switch 1 or Switch 2. We've got different blurbs, right? One is bigger than the others. A bit of a troll post there, but it's harmless. What do you think of the size difference? It's bigger. I'm so dumb. They're irrelevant. If you don't have it yet, I wouldn't want to purchase the base game twice. Alright, so I was talking about... what happens if I click on this? Say you have both Switch and Switch 2. Will the game without upgrade pack work on Switch? I must have said something dumb. But read that again. Say you have both Switch and Switch 2. Will the game without upgrade work on... Okay, yeah, backwards compatibility. That's the best thing that I could come up with at the time of what we know. Remember, if you're going to NS... Okay, we've that's my own reply to myself. KZ's cool. You should follow this person. One of the OG Vocaloid scene creators. Here's my question. When they say original Switch game and its upgrade pack, we've talked about that. Provider source. This was because somebody was saying, oh, they deleted it. Okay, and then my account is suspended, so that's long gone. Both of us now. I made assumption that's my bad. Ness was too short. If for some reason you actually watched this, you might be right, actually. After Marvelous turned around and said that the red card can be used in both consoles. Which, actually, I'm curious. I'll show you something. If I go here, store. I know this is kind of off topic, but this is the things that I would be still posting on X if I had access to X. If I go software, and let's go to... I'm just thinking if I should do this live or not now, because it might show my address. I will just tell you what happens. If I add this game here to my cart, it's going to tell me you must... It tells you that this is only playable on the Switch 2. But the thing is, Nintendo did the same thing with the GameCube controller, right? They say this is only going to work with the GameCube games, which, I mean, kind of yes in full, but it's not 100% true, right? Like all of the classic controllers, you can try to use the NES controller and play Animal Crossing if you want to, but there's just not enough buttons on the controller, right? This, where they've added the other buttons, like the ZL is also included, but they have analog triggers, right? And most Switch games, because the Switch doesn't have analog triggers, will just treat them digitally or something. So it's not like the games are suddenly going to have the ability to play Mario Kart World with variable speed acceleration or brake or something like that. I think that's all it's trying to say, really. Anyway, rant over. And basically, the whole point of that was just to say, maybe this guy's still actually right. Even if Nintendo says that this is exclusively playable only on the Switch 2, maybe they're only saying that because that applies to the upgrade pack part of it, not the whole thing. I don't know. I want to see the proof. I think Marvelous was the only one that's answered this clearly and precisely. And that's probably going to apply to their games as well. That's what I think now, after looking at it over and over again. I hope that's true, because these are the same price as buying the separate things, like the physical version of the Switch 1 game and then the upgrade pack and stuff like that. And that would be just more flexible. You can still play on the Switch 1. If this is locked strictly, like the entire game is locked strictly to Switch 2, then you're paying the same amount for less flexibility. Basically, that's my rant. And that's going to be in another video. Why am I going into depth for that? Let's go back. With replies. Cards have notches, and this will have upgrade built in, so I seriously doubt... Yeah, okay, but then the notch is a backwards notch. So if I could respond to this person, I would, and say, maybe I'm wrong. That notch is only there for the Switch 2 to be able to tell that you have a Switch 1 or Switch 2 game plugged in. Previous hardware has always done that. Okay, talking about the pricing to people... we already saw that. Say something good about the PlayStation 3. Something good about the PlayStation 3. That's my humor. Mr. Scary Bright. Okay, we talked about that. Question marks. They changed a lot of the character creation elements, and I don't know why the PS4 level power argument is even a thing on the Switch 2. Using this, blah blah blah. I wonder what the frame rate it were on the PS4 Pro, considering it's essentially optimized for a Switch. The 1080p 120 or 4K 60. Will this be 4K Switch? 4K 60 FPS on a PS4 Pro? That would be interesting, but we'll never know. PS6 would okay, whatever. 1,300. That's just a guess. PS6 pricing. I want this so bad. Very fair choice. That's cool, but I'll stick with the one I have until they make a themed one. Yeah, I'm just randomly talking to people. 2 extra programmable. I'm still in April, man. A Miku card. Too bad it has no VRAM. Again, we're just scrolling through live to show how inauthentic I am and how I deserved a permanent ban, right? How long have I been doing this for? 34 minutes. We'll do 5 more minutes and I'll stop. Eternal Darkness is the game that I want. If first game you think of, yep, Eternal Darkness. If you could play one more video and experience it the very first time a game, Mass Effect, the first one. I like the story a lot. It's the same base game and system transfers include save data exists. Okay, yeah. So basically, you can continue your save. In fact, they just give you an extra save slot. It's cool. Which, if that's part of the upgrade pack, and you don't have access to online, and you have the Nintendo subscription online expansion pass to get the upgrade pack, and then you try to play on the train, and then it says checking if your software is playable, and then it doesn't have access to the internet, so therefore it does not give you the expansion edition. Does the second save just temporarily vanish? Anyway, can't wait till this is dead. Okay, I can't wait until this Ask game is dead. This is a real Ask game to the butt slapper. One of my friends thinks this is why I was permanently suspended. Mario Kart 120 frames per second. Switch 2 cannot output 4K at 120. Just clarifying there. Because I think the Switch 2 HDMI port on the dock is HDMI 2.0 spec. One thing that's annoying, like my TV has two 2.1 ports, but it doesn't specify in the spec sheet, the manuals or anything, what the specifications of the lesser than 2.1 is. So you have to make inference, and I think it supports 4K 60, not VRR, and 1080p 120 is okay. So that's all within the HDMI 2.0 spec. So I guess the dock is 2.0 spec, which, the website itself originally for the tech specs showed, is this the US? Yes, it is. Sometimes I have the Google Translates on. Where are you? So the screen, where is the screen output thing? I'm scrolling too fast to try to make things faster and shorter. But all right, we found the video output. So it tells you there 120 FPS when maximum of 1440p resolution is selected. Does support HDR though, and 4K is 60 FPS. And it doesn't say anything about VRR here, but if I do a Control F for variable, fine. For VRR, there it is. It was on the screen already. So the actual inbuilt screen can do VRR up to 120 Hz. So that's going to be a handheld feature only, probably because those are the hints that suggest that the dock's HDMI output is going to be 2.0. And like I said before, my TV specifies 2.1. For 2 ports, but doesn't tell you the specifications of the other ports. So it just seems to be a thing that if it's under 2.1, they just don't tell you. Does it say anywhere? HDMI. Oh, how about we just do this dock HDMI port? Doesn't tell you, right? That's what I was looking for. Okay. Breath of the Wild, blah, blah, blah. You have NSO plus E, right? What did they reply? Yes. Well, damn it! I can't follow up. What was it? $0 for me because I already own the game, the DLC, and have NSO. I get free Switch 2 games day one. Crazy. Maybe I don't have to follow up. Just nice, I guess. So sometimes, when I first read something like that, I'm waiting for a response, and then I give a more in-depth explanation. But in this case, there's not much more to say. I'm just clarifying your expansion pack, because here I think they just said NSO, right? Okay, yeah. So I just trying to say it's only if you have the expansion pass will you get this for free. $0. Okay, I should stop using the word free, but everybody else does. To be more technical, it's included in the subscription. As soon as your subscription expires or cannot be confirmed, you lose access to it. So, unlike a perpetual license. Breath of the Wild is included in the price. There you go. That's just what I said. So free, and now I'm just clarifying included is a better thing to say. I just did it myself, so I have to slap myself in the face for doing the same thing. Presented with Grums. Okay, so apparently I've responded to him, mixed with Ubisoft licensing perspective or not, because on one hand they say get used to not owning the games as a theoretical requirement, blah blah blah. On the other hand, they are taking more licensing. Okay, I'm not going to read that and go in more in depth. I guess for Switch 2 only, but how the other developers are. Okay, so this is talking about the enhanced edition cartridges again. I'm going to wait for 1 or 2 terabyte micro SD cards, so I just shared that one's already existed. Their biggest size. I said I was going to do this for 5 more minutes, and it's already exactly 5 minutes. Really? Okay. Nice internal clock. I like sorting files in the year, month, day format. This is what I like, because then my files, when I click just alphabetical order, are also sorted in time. So you could do year, month, day, hour, minute, seconds if you want it to be even more precise. Good for photos. I think it's better to say the upgrade is included in the... Okay. Yep. I have to take the L for that one because I said it when just trying to speed torque. So it's just we still talking about Switch 2, still April. Here's a line of people. How can you answer a question you don't even understand? Oh, right. This person is like, so this dude is like asking these people, what do you want to buy? And they're talking in Japanese, and if the person can't respond in Japanese, they were kicking them out of the store, basically because they're getting sick of scalpers buying stuff and sending it to China, right? And then this person's like, why wouldn't scalpers be able to answer what they're buying? It's because of a language barrier, basically. 1440p, apparently. No one paints the full picture. Switch 2 has a bigger battery. All right, I was just... Yeah. This is the last thing I'll talk about. So people are going on about how the Switch 2's battery life is crap. But actually the OG Switch was 2.5 to 6.5. So 30-minute difference, maybe? This one's probably got more power going on. It actually is a bigger battery in the Switch 2. So bigger size, slightly bigger battery, but gets eaten up by... more horsepower, I guess. I guess maybe they're going to do the same thing when there's a revision to the chipset. We're going to get like the 4.5 to 9 hours version of Switch 2, maybe. Maybe it's going to be the Switch 2 OLED version or something. Which, see, I've got so much technical stuff in my head that I want to talk about, so I can rant forever. The Switch, okay, my TV is OLED. A lot of people have OLED TVs. One thing that's kind of crusty about OLED is that when you do VRR, especially like in dark scenes, because the OLED TVs have a lot of whatever algorithms they use, basically, it can cause VRR flicker. And I guess Nintendo went for a LCD panel because LCDs do not have the VRR flicker, which does take you out of the gaming experience. You spend more time just looking or opening the menu all the time going, look, it's flickering, this is annoying. And I know how to stop that on my TV, and that's to add some additional video processing, but when I'm gaming, I want it to be as minimal possible input, right? So I turn off everything, and I also want the the image itself to be as, what would you say, calibrated, basically, as possible. So I want to see what the developers saw in their rooms in terms of color, as close as possible. And therefore, yeah, whatever settings I put on my TV to try to match that, for whatever reason, I get the VRR flicker, which is sadness, or even screen tearing. So I guess they tested OLED maybe, and they had flicker issues or screen tearing or something like that, or they're just aware of it and they just said, go LCD for the first. Maybe a few years down the line, some OLED developments may prevent that. Oh yes, I get angry about these kind of things, and I think all I was just talking about was this Shibuya Kahu herself. Like, people were saying, you used to be a specific actress. And I'm just like, yeah, she stopped. But the thing is, like, that doesn't negate your opinion about people doing stuff like this. And he had a blue face. If I want to rant about that, basically, I've got pictures somewhere, but I was in Ueno Park during the cherry blossoms, and there are signs everywhere saying, please do not touch the trees, because they can take years to recover. They may even die. And if everybody decided it's fun to climb trees, which, admittedly, it's fun to climb trees, then the cherry blossom viewing in Japan would, especially in popular areas like Ueno, quickly turn into no cherry blossom viewing. Anyway, so that's a big look at, I think that shows almost every sort of topic that I've been talking about. Again, it's mostly video games with a couple of moment things like, wow, now I'm getting a lot of Shibuya stuff. Game keycards, blah, blah, blah. By the way, I noticed something. Let's go to... what's the best way to do this? Oh, just type here. JB Hi-Fi Australia. Let's go to JB Hi-Fi Australia. And let's look up... what's that game again? How are you going to answer that? Block Split Fiction. There we go. Well, this one. Download code! No game card is included! That's a good way to finish this video. See you! That's enough of this rant. I hope that I have shown enough to have you guys point out exactly why I deserve a permanent ban on X. Also, I'll probably actually use this exact video and just paste it as an appeal. Where can I do that? Click on myself, maybe? See, the you are banned thing doesn't come up that often, especially when you have actually paid, because you can actually view stuff. When I didn't have this check mark, I could only view like one post and one set of replies. And as soon as I clicked on other tabs like media, for example, actually, will this load? It's trying. They're probably all been timed out or deleted or something. I don't know, because, I've been suspended for a while now. This would have loaded at one stage after I was first suspended. But, like, the day after I was suspended, I clicked media and I could see it once. But then I clicked posts and then it just says, like, you've reached your daily limit or something like that. Alright, it's just all a bunch of blanks. Likes? Can I see? Nope. Highlight? Nothing. Articles? I've never written an article. You need to have the premium upgrade for that. I should try that. If I get unbanned, I am going to pay just because I want to try writing an article on X. But it's kind of expensive though. It's like 6,000 yen a month. This is my curse. I'm so interested in technology that I waste money like this. And my other curse is that I get banned. Apparently I'm a bot. I don't exist. This is the only code in the box, by the way, that I've found so far. One thing I noticed, actually, I got a video. I don't know if it was from JB Hi-Fi, but it's from Australia. They had game box art on the shelves to advertise, basically, but they didn't add the blurbs. So why can't I click here? Let me go back. I don't want to just click on this one. I want to click on this one. Anyway, basically, they didn't have the blurb saying if it was a game keycard or not, and I think that is highly important that all game keycards are known even before the physical real boxes are out, because if somebody's planning, they need to know how much space they need if they actually want to buy the game keycards, because it's going to use up internal storage or micro SD express card storage. All right, I'm done. Thank you for watching. Sorry, I sort of ranted for 50 minutes now. This is way too long. If I could turn it into a 10-minute version, great. But again, I wanted to do this live because that increases the chance of me not editing anything and like faking stuff or deleting stuff that I'm possibly ashamed of or whatever. I needed to show rawly everything that I have put out there, at least in the last few months. Thank you. And I hope I get my account back someday. That's right, I was going to look for the appeal button and then just... Yeah, I'm going to flick this off to YouTube if I can and then appeal and just put a link and say, where did I go wrong? I don't want to spam appeals though. I've only done 3 appeals so far. I did it the day that I got banned. I did it a week later and then 2 weeks after that, basically. So I did an appeal like 2 days ago. Anyway, ranting. See you.